Spasimir, hi once again. Thank you for this. You're the part of the Alliance for EU project, financially funded by the Visegrad Fund and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Republic of Korea. The whole project seeks to engage in an analysis and advocacy initiatives aiming at depolarizing the intercultural relations between North Macedonia and Bulgaria in order to prevent the pending possibility of another stalemate on the EU enlargement process. On that subject, can you introduce us with your research subject in the frames of this project?
Absolutely. Thank you, Riste, for first and foremost to you and to Katya for the invitation and for organizing and putting together this fantastic project, because I think that's a very important step that aims to face the wall of difficulties that we see in the Macedonian-Bulgarian relations over the last several years. So when we discussed my participation in the project, the idea was that I will touch upon the implications of the ongoing conflict, war in Ukraine, on the European Union enlargement policy. And it is quite apparent that there is a profound change that took place over the last year. What really happened was that the war in Ukraine, whether we like it or not, served its role as a booster of the European awareness about the implications of the Balkan Peninsula for its own security. And in that sense, with all the tragedy that takes place in Ukraine right now, it had a direct impact on the dynamics in the relations between the European Union and the Western Balkans in particular. In the context of this relationship, we need to be aware that there are numerous obstacles on the way to join, for the countries of the Western Balkans to join the EU. And the paradox is that they're not only on the side of the countries from the Western Balkans. The European Union itself has a profound problem with its enlargement policy and what it really wants to do with it and how it wants to do it. But the geopolitical pressure that came from the East now triggered the reaction from the United States and Brussels, which requires also a certain rethinking of the relationship with the countries of Western Balkans. Having in mind this perspective, it is very important to understand that this complicated puzzle cannot be resolved without the resolution of the Bulgarian-Macedonian conflict over history and identity. And this is of crucial importance because this is one tiny element of the puzzle which misfortunately contains the weight to be equally unpleasant as the Serbian-Kosovar relations or the situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So we should not undermine the importance of this clash. On the other hand, this is a clash that is also directly influenced by the situation in Ukraine. The paradox is that the war in Ukraine triggered a number of pro-Russian agents in Bulgaria to wake up and to get involved in this kind of a nationalist, anti-Western, patriotic / nationalistic narrative that aims to replace the internal problems, which are very similar, I would say, akin to the Russian ones, with this, let's say, replaced historical narrative. Of course, there is an issue with history. The past is as complicated as it is, and it requires certain awareness, but also certain distance from both sides. Unfortunately, we also see that on Macedonian side, there are political groups that take the advantage of this anti-Bulgarian hysteria, which allows them to accumulate cheap political support, and that creates a very dangerous, I would say, mixture that can have a very negative impact on the European Union and its enlargement policy. In that sense, I do hope that my research and the general contribution of all the partners in the project will allow us to notice those important elements that bring us together rather than divide us, beyond the narrative of Russia, beyond the narrative of nationalism, and in search for the common future rather than the difficult past.
Yes, I will say that that last part was a kind of a answer to my second question, how the subject is relevant to the whole reconciliation, depolarization of the narrative. If we can put it in one or two sentences, what will be that? What the aim, the concrete aim of the whole?
Well, as preliminary hopes rather than, I would rather say as hypotheses rather than findings, because the research is ahead. But my silent message that I hope will somehow come through the research is that the purpose of living together in United Europe is not so much to love each other. This is, I think, a far-reaching enthusiasm that is not necessary. If you look from Central European perspective, it is not the case that the people of Slovakia, Czechia, or Hungary or Poland wake up every morning and think, "Oh, how I'm happy that I love my neighbors." We simply, I think that to a large extent, don't care about each other, but at the same time, we do not commemorate the difficulties of the past when it comes to our future. And I silently hope that my research and the analysis of the relationship between the first genuine geopolitical challenge, which is the war in Ukraine, and the European Union reaction, and its, I would say, absolutely surprising opening of the enlargement policy for countries that were previously rather fit into the neighborhood policy, created a lot of havoc, and it required a certain reaction. But this reaction cannot be overestimated. The European Union cannot resolve bilateral problems, and if we do not see that, we will live in the constant feeling of prejudices and stereotypes, expecting the Messiah to come and help us, when the truth is that everything is about us.
Thank you very much, Spasimir, and see you soon.
Thanks, Rista. Thank you very much.